When I was in college, I worked as a line cook at the Swamp Restaurant. It was a restaurant in Gainesville, not far from the Swamp Stadium. And every single Sunday, we served loaded baked potato soup. And people came in on Sundays just for the loaded baked potato soup. It was a signature dish for which there existed actually no official recipe. You see, you earned the right to open on Sundays only when you could reproduce the soup exactly the way that it was expected, with just the right amount of creamy, potatoey, bacony, cheesy goodness. It was really, really good soup. And for a couple of years, I opened every single Sunday morning. I peeled lots of potatoes, and I'm not ashamed to say that I made some really good soup. The iconic Swamp Restaurant was actually torn down just a few months ago, but it lives on through memories like the soup. And so in this weekend, on this rainy weekend that we just had, I decided to make some soup. Amy peeled and I chopped potatoes, and the bacon sauteed onion, added other ingredients. But you know what? The final product just missed the mark. It was good, but it wasn't great. You see, I have this picture in my mind, a taste in my memory, a feeling that the soup, when perfect, evokes, and it just missed the mark. I'll have to try again sometime soon. Do you have something that you make or create or do where you have this picture in your mind of what it will be, or what it ought to be, or what it needs to be just right? Our scripture today comes from the book of 1 John chapter 3, and the scripture I want to read you comes from the very first verse. See what love the Father has, that we should be called children of God, and so we are. It's scripture that I use when baptizing. They're words that I used when I had the opportunity to baptize our daughter Hannah almost exactly 1 year ago. But I was reminded of this scripture this week for another reason. I was reading a book by the pastor at Buckhead Church in Atlanta. His name is Clay Scroggins, and in his book he was reflecting on God's creation of humanity, saying that not only are we children of God, but that God created us in his image. Think about that. God had God's self in mind when God created you, when God created me. And here's the one thing, I can tell you that God didn't miss the mark. So let that sit for just a moment. God had God's self in mind when God created you. And maybe there are days when it doesn't feel like that. Maybe there are a lot of days when it doesn't feel like that. So today, let that sink in. You were created in the image of God. See what love the Father has, that we should be called children of